Does this sound familiar? You've been working on a task, whether it's working on perfecting the perfect reel for Instagram, whether it's working on a book, whether it's working on a project that you put all of your heart and soul into. You genuinely thought it was going to perform well. You go to post it and nothing happens. You get 0 views, maybe under 100 if you're lucky, and you feel discouraged. You feel like all of the effort that you have made completely went down the window. You feel like, what is the point of trying if it's just gonna fail once more? And so you stop trying. You don't do that thing that is going to progress you forward into who you're truly meant to be. See, deep down, we know exactly what it is that we need to do. Whether it's creating a YouTube video like this to create a personal brand, or simply doing the habits that we need to do every single day in order to have our higher self from 20 years in the future thank us. But we don't do them because we get discouraged. And this is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about this completely self-destructive cycle that has been completely, how many times am I going to say completely? It was utterly ruining all of November of 2024. See, it was November of 2024, and I was really getting into my fitness business. I was making ads, I had everything in place, I was reading books on business. Suddenly, I knew exactly what to do. I perfect the perfect ad in my mind, and I go to post it. I spend over $100 on that ad, and guess what happens? Nobody interacts with it, 0 calls booked. I then start to spiral. My negative thoughts start emerging, saying, you're not good enough. You can't do this. You know, how come other 16-year-olds can do it, but you can't? What is it that you can't do that they can do? And so all of these negative thoughts, they're destructive. They weren't helping me, which caused me to halt my progress for months. This is what I like to call the self-destruct cycle, or AKA the inaction cycle. Simply, what this cycle means is you get into a negative state of mind from something that doesn't work. You have a sense of perfectionism, and when you feel like something has to be perfect, when it fails, your ego takes a hit because you identify with the thing that you created and you treat it like your little baby. And so when it doesn't perform well, you take it as a threat to your identity in a way. And so here's how the cycle works. It starts with you taking some kind of action to better yourself. Whether it's, tracking and doing a workout of the day, whether it's creating a reel and posting a reel, whether it's creating an advertisement for your agency. No matter the task, it's something that you put all your heart and soul into. That is the action. Then comes the failure, aka the setback. You experience the setback, and now what happens? You get a flow of negative emotions saying, oh man, why didn't this work? And now, from emotions, negative emotions, it's going to loop into inaction, because when we're in a negative state of mind, we are less likely to take action. Haven't you noticed that every time you take action in your daily life, it's usually because you're in a good state of mind? And you probably do know how hard it is to actually take action when you feel like shit. I know what it's like because I felt like shit, again, all of November. My ads were failing, they weren't doing well, and instead of seeing it as something wrong with the product, I was seeing it as something wrong with myself. And so I started beating myself up about it. I was like, oh, you should be working harder, you should this, you should that. And then as Tony Robbins says, you just shit all over yourself and you don't get anywhere. So finally, once we're in the state of negative feelings and inaction, that leads to more inaction. Because now you're feeling bad, which causes no action. So now this is where the actual loop begins. Because it's a loop of feeling bad, not taking action, and because you're not taking action, you go to further feeling bad. And you're stuck in this endless loop until time passes and the whole thing just dissipates. I want to essentially explain the 3 enemies that are blocking you from escaping the cycle. The first enemy is imperfection, or rather, perfectionism. Perfectionism is simply you trying to perfect a certain product that you're making or creating until it is quote-unquote perfect. Sometimes what happens is people plan to have the perfect plan, and because they still see the flaw in the plan, they never execute. Now, the key to breaking perfectionism is realizing that in this life, nothing is perfect. You are the person that defines what perfect is. Perfectionism is simply a construct of the mind. What might be perfect to you is going to be completely imperfect to somebody else. Let's say you make a reel, and you think the reel is the most perfect thing in the world, and you're about to post it. But you show this reel to a mentor who is way far ahead down the road than you. He looks at it and he sees it as mediocre because to his standards, it's imperfect. To your standards, it's perfect. It really is all about perception. So in order to change it and in order to eliminate perfectionism, realize that there is no perfection. All you have to do is just get started today. The second enemy is going to be negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is a big one, and unfortunately, it goes deeper than simply negative language. It goes down into the programming that you've been programmed with ever since you were a kid in order to protect yourself. But we're not going to get into that in this video, maybe in the future videos. But all you got to remember is that how you talk to yourself matters. Nobody else is going to be around you cheerleading you on. You have to be that person. So tell yourself that you can do it. Tell yourself one more rep at the gym when you want to stop. Literally hype yourself up, and I promise you that you will start to see changes in your psychology, because now that's going to be hardwired into your brain and will become a part of who you are. Now, the third and final conflict and enemy that completely prevents you from breaking from that cycle, it's going to be consistency. And that is something that I personally struggle with because I don't always find the time to work on my business. When in reality, I probably could find time if I want to. The reality is, for something to be extremely consistent, it has to become a part of who you are. You have to identify with that thing. So if you want to be really into fitness, you need to identify yourself as a healthy person. If you want to be a business owner and post and be consistent with posting your ads and content, you need to identify as a business owner. Identity plays a huge part in our belief system as well as our actions. So by training your brain to identify yourself as a business owner, you are going to be consistent. As a healthy person, you're going to be consistent in the gym. As a non-smoker, you're not going to smoke. As a non-zinner, you are not going to zin. And so when you master these three enemies, you are going to break out of that cycle. Because let me tell you, this brain, this mechanism you have, it is the only mechanism that is going to take you to where you want to go. So why would you treat it bad? Why would you start beating it up? It's kind of like your own car. You know, you want the car to take you from A to B, but if you keep beating up the car, it's not going to take you to those places. Simple as that. So chill, relax, realize that you need to be kind to yourself. As cliche as that sounds, be the best cheerleader for yourself that you can be. And I promise you, your creative energy is going to unlock, because it did for me. And every single day, I have little to no resistance in creating whatever it is I want to create into the world, because I mastered that dark time in November. And I want to let you know that sometimes the dark paths in our life, those are the very paths that are teaching us exactly what we need in order to be our higher self. You just have to go through that shit. In the moment, it sucks. Trust me. I know, it does. And you wish it could end sooner. But you almost need to go through that in order for your soul to learn what it is that you need to overcome and become stronger at. Because a lot of the time, the greatest adversity can become your greatest gift, if you choose to see it that way. Also, if you want to check out the video on why you do not need to have goals in order to succeed, then check out this video right here, because it is literally going to explain why you do not need to have a clear-cut path in life to achieve your goals. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this that dive deep into your mind and completely debunk all of your mental conflicts as well as just general life advice. So yeah, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.